About a month ago, I made a video detailing my thoughts on the MW2 beta, and I was pleasantly surprised to see the amount of feedback I got on it with how you guys felt about it. I had maybe like 20 people share their thoughts, so in light of the full game finally releasing, here are my thoughts so far. Of course, this is a first impression of the full release, so take it with a grain of salt, and if enough people want, I can make a full review after a month or so to see the game and how it's progressed and set in. Thank you, and enjoy the video. The biggest problem I had with the beta was the obnoxiously loud footsteps. They were so loud that I often find myself walking instead of sprinting for the sole reason that I knew someone would be holding the corner if they heard me running. Many other people agreed, as I saw other content creators talking about it in their videos, and it seems like Infinity Ward listened. The footsteps noise has definitely been reduced, but surprisingly, it is still louder than in Modern Warfare 2019. Let's watch this. Let's watch this. Let's just watch this. I've still seen people complaining about it, and even though it is still a little too loud, it's definitely a better change from the beta. The main problem with loud footsteps is what I mentioned earlier, where people will intently hold corners once they hear footsteps, and even start pre-firing corners, which drastically reduces your chances of winning, which then promotes you to do the same, leading to slower matches and camping. Not as slow as Modern Warfare 2019, however, which can be attributed partly to map design. For the most part, the maps in the new Modern Warfare 2 are fine. Some of them are better than others in my opinion, with the ones that were in the beta being the best out of the selection. And that's not just me knowing the maps better. After playing all of the other maps a good amount of times, the original 3 or 4 maps are definitely on top, but of course maps are subjective to how well you do on each one, so you probably prefer different maps than I do. However, there is a new map that was added into the game that gave me a sour taste from the very first second I loaded into it. I'm sure many of you will know exactly what map I'm talking about. The highway map, Santa Sana Border Crossing. This map, in my opinion, is awful. I'll preface it by saying, in theory, it's a cool map, and it definitely lends itself to being better as a campaign mission, and in the ground war and invasion modes, obviously the map is much bigger, so it, isn't as bad. But as like a 6v6 multiplayer map, I hate it. So many little windows of the cars that people can peek through. The sidewalk areas just have people mounted with assault rifles spraying down them at the mere shadow of an enemy. The spawns are garbage because you can't really spawn towards the middle, so if you have someone in the back of your spawn killing everyone, you will just continually spawn in front of them and keep dying. Since it's quite hard to get spawns to flip on this map. Next to C. Oh, oh my god! That's so weird, dude. The only real fun I had on this map was jumping from top of one car to another. This map brings out the worst play styles. Oh, dude. Dude, you see what I'm saying? Look, he mounted on the fucking delete. That's a fucking guy, dude. Oh my god.
That shit mad valley.
Bro, I'm fat. In the video I made on the beta, I said that the worst map was Valderis Museum, but in comparison to this, that map is actually way better. But I haven't really seen the Valderis Museum, so I'm not sure if they just took it out of the game or why the reasoning for that was. But yeah, the highway map is definitely the worst. The next thing I want to talk about is how amazing it is to see the variety of sniper rifles we have in the game. In the beta, I talked a lot about sniping since that's what I tend to do for the most part. And I mentioned how I was worried for the full game because the only snipers we got to see were the Lockwood, which was a super fast firing, low damage rifle, and the Signal 50, which was a huge 50 cal that wasn't really good for quickscoping. But luckily, we got blessed with like I think 9 sniper rifles slash marksman rifles, and 4 of those are really good for quickscoping. So having 9 total snipers and 4 that are good for quickscoping is massive. I think in Cold War there was 3 on release, with 2 of them being good for quickscoping, which I mean I really enjoyed Cold War sniping, so I'm not complaining about it. But the sniping in Modern Warfare 2 2022 feels exceptional. I immediately started off with unlocking the SPR and leveling the SPR to unlock the next 3 rifles in that chain, with the SPR being as good as it was in Modern Warfare 2019, and the SAB being even better in my opinion, with the 10 round mag that it comes with stock, which is just crazy. The LAB, on the other hand, I'm not too big of a fan of it. It's extremely slow for the most part, unless you get like all the attachments, and then even still, it's quite slow. But the SPX is really good too. I really enjoy the SPX. The bullet damage is crazy. It's a lot slower than the marksman rifles, obviously, because it's a full-size sniper rifle, but you can hit some pretty nice things with that. But I don't think a lot of people will be complaining about sniper damage being too high, because the TTK with all the regular weapons is extremely low. Especially with a lot of the SMGs like the MP5 and the Vector, you will die incredibly quick. And sorry for not saying their in-game names. I don't remember exactly what they are. Lockman Sub and the Fennec, I'm not too sure, but I'm just saying what they are in real life. The TTK isn't as apparent as it was in the beta because the footsteps got turned down. It seems like the footsteps really affect a lot of things, especially with how people play and how the maps flow. The TTK was extremely apparent in the beta for the fact that people would pre-fire like crazy, so you find yourself dying super quick when people have the jump on you. Slide canceling was also removed from the game, and there are mixed opinions on it. On one hand, the slide canceling warriors that traded accuracy for sporadic movement are quite annoying to run into. However, the removal of slide canceling does lower the skill cap of the game and kind of dilutes it. Apex Legends is such a polarizing game because of the movement. If you can master the movement in Apex, it is almost as beneficial as mastering the aim. Now in Modern Warfare 2, all we have are bunny hop champions who can't help but spam the bunny hop button whenever they feel threatened. Me personally, I'd much rather have slide canceling in the game because even though some people definitely took it way too far, it added another level of fun to the game and a useful tool for peeking around corners that are being held by campers. Since of course you can't really do much action at the start of your slide. I'm pretty sure there's another way to slide cancel or something that I saw on Reddit. I'm not too sure, but I haven't learned it yet, so I don't know if it's viable or not. On to some features that we didn't experience in the beta. I didn't actually really think about the UI that much, like the menu and stuff, but I've actually started seeing a lot of people complain about it, and it doesn't seem too bad to me. I don't really know why everyone's complaining. Obviously, the fact that there's no barracks and no like combat record and stuff is extremely weird. It's kind of like how Cold War got released with no leaderboards, and I would have preferred that to be in the game at the start like most people, but I haven't really noticed any problems with like the actual UI. It seems pretty straightforward. I'm not too sure why people are complaining about it. The ability to unlock weapons through other weapons is actually a cool idea since it encourages people to branch out in terms of weapons, and for the most part you can unlock weapons way quicker than if you were locked behind a normal level barrier. However, it can suck if one weapon seems to be worse than the other weapons in the tree because then you have to slug through that weapon even if you don't want to use it at all and just get to the good weapon or the weapon that you prefer. Specifically for me, the LAB, I was not a big fan of it, and it just took forever to level up to get the XPX. It was just so slow and I was not enjoying myself. One thing I'm not a fan of is the camo grind, specifically for gold camo. It's extremely easy. The only time consuming part is the weapon levels, which you can just go into invasion and level a weapon like 3 to 7 times in one match. The gold camo and in turn platinum and higher don't feel very prestigious anymore. Obviously they take time, but gold being locked behind just 4 camos and an extra challenge is a bit lackluster. On a game as fun as Modern Warfare 2, the camo grind would have been more exciting since it seems like many are enjoying it. Also, I guess we can talk about skill-based matchmaking. Whether you like it or not, I do believe the skill-based matchmaking needs to be in the game for player retention. I can't imagine that a 35 or 40-year-old dad that comes home after a long day at work and wants to play some Call of Duty would be too fond of getting destroyed in every lobby that he stepped foot into by a guy who doesn't go to work and plays Call of Duty for 16 hours a day. And a lot of those working adults do make up a large portion of the population of the game, so they really want to try and keep as many players as possible. However, I will say that me personally, I do think the skill-based matchmaking is tuned just a little too high. A 40 kill game will almost always lead into a 10 or 15 kill game, and that streak of high tier lobbies can last way longer than lower tier lobbies, as in a 40 kill game can lead to 4 10 kill games, while one low kill game won't lead to 4 40 kill games. Sorry if that's confusing, but essentially I'm just saying that skill-based matchmaking is weighed heavily more against better skilled players, which I mean, to be fair, that is the point of skill-based matchmaking, but yeah, I just think it's a little too overtuned in this game. Obviously, the more skillful you are, the more of a bias you're going to have against it. So you might just think I'm crazy, but, you know, at least I'm not using a VPN, I guess. A few more small grievances I've seen and that I have are them not releasing hardcore on the release of the game. I don't know why. I think that was just a really weird move. Unless, of course, hardcore was broken in some way. It doesn't really make much sense since on every other game they've released hardcore at the start. I know that a lot of people in the hardcore community were upset. Even though, to be fair, in core, the TTK feels just like hardcore. I don't know why they don't just go play core. It's basically the same fucking thing. Also, another thing that wasn't working is play of the games happened maybe once every 20 matches. And even now, after playing a little more, I don't think I've seen a play of the game since like the first 2 days. I don't know if they just got hot fixed and like removed or what, but I enjoy play of the games. I think they're way more exciting than a final kill. So I'm not too sure what's going on with that either. I know that the Call of Duty games have always had trouble with play of the games, especially on launch, so hopefully that gets fixed. Also, I don't know if I went over this earlier or not, but I think spawns are pretty damn bad in this game. There have been a multitude of occasions I find myself spawning in front of enemies and being killed before I can even start moving. Obviously, I know that this will happen more on smaller maps, but even on like the more medium-sized maps and even the bigger maps, I've had occasions where I've just spawned in front of people and just die. I'm not too sure what's going on with that, but I'm not a game designer, but I feel like there's a way to make it to where you don't spawn in the direct line of sight of someone. I don't know. One last thing, the performance on the PC could have been better. I've crashed a few times, especially when I'm trying to play with friends. I don't know what it has to do with joining lobbies and then crashing on the game starting up, but yeah, I've crashed many times so far. I also do know that the NVIDIA drivers were messed up, so I had to roll back the driver, and it fixed a lot of the graphical issues that I was getting. So if you're having graphical issues, try rolling back your driver. Obviously, that part is not Infinity Ward's fault. It's NVIDIA's fault for the driver messing up, but all we can hope for is that it's fixed, and hopefully that'll fix a lot of the issues that come with the game. I do know that with the new driver, I actually had a few instances of my computer completely crashing on the game. Like, it would just freeze my computer, and I haven't really had that happen since I rolled my driver back. Overall, I'd say the game is good. Anytime I complain about playstyles, it isn't always at the fault of the game, since people are always going to play how they want, and I'm biased just depending on my playstyle. But my problem in most of those cases is how the game fuels those playstyles, so even still, I'm enjoying myself, and I know a bunch of other people are as well. It has the Call of Duty polish that we see on most Call of Duty releases, and it gives me hope for the future of this game. It's better than Modern Warfare 2019, and it is way better than Vanguard, so if you're still on the fence about it, I'd say buy it if you can. I've also seen from multiple sources that it is the #1 best-selling Call of Duty game straight off the bat, so I'd say that's pretty cool too. It's a new age COD, so if you're going into it expecting it to feel like Modern Warfare 2 2009, it's not going to feel that way, but it does have some charm to it. And the campaign was extremely fun, especially seeing all the characters from the original Modern Warfare 2 campaign, so that was a nice homage. But yeah, it's a good game. I recommend it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it if you made it all the way to the end. If you want to see any other Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022 inspired videos, then subscribe and like and give me your thoughts on the game so far. I might try and do some, I don't know, tier list sort videos or weapon rankings and stuff. I'm gonna try and branch out and figure out some things to post, so stick around. And yeah, I appreciate you watching. Have a good rest of your day.